What's going on, everybody? I'm Johnny Brook. Welcome back to another Crafted Workshop video. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about this mini split unit that I just had installed here in the shop. So it was a pretty brutal summer here in Asheville. It got really hot and I knew I needed to get some sort of conditioning here in the shop. So my choices were fairly limited. I don't even have a window here in the shop. This is a kind of basement garage shop, so window units were kind of out, and I thought mini split units were the best choice because they're the most efficient. They were going to be very effective at cooling and heating a shop of this space. So I worked with the folks at ecomfort.com to get this unit. It's an LG unit. It's 18,000 BTUs, 24 SEER rated. I'll have a link to the exact unit I got in the video description below. Also got some footage of the unit being installed. I had a local HVAC company, Rutherford, come out and install the unit, and it's a little bit of a tricky install requiring some specialized tooling, so I let the professionals handle that, but I did get some footage just to kind of show you what was involved in the process. So let's go check that out. The first step in the installation process was to install the bracket for the indoor unit, which is where the mini split is controlled, as well as where the air comes from. It's best to place the indoor unit in an area where it won't be blocked by any other large structures, and in a workshop environment, it's best to avoid placing it next to any tools that will generate a lot of fine airborne dust. After installing the bracket for the indoor unit, my technician went about the process of drilling the 3-inch hole through the wall for the refrigerant lines to run through. A 3-inch hole is fairly standard in the world of mini splits, and technicians are equipped with tools to drill through concrete, wood, or other wall types. Once the hole was drilled, we could hang the indoor unit on the bracket, running the lines through the hole to the outside of the house. The indoor unit is attached to the bracket with a few screws. Next, my technician installed the bracket, which will hold the condenser, onto the outside of the house. As you can see, my house is on a slope, so creating a pad for the condenser on the ground would have been much more difficult, so we decided to go with the bracket instead. Once the bracket was installed, we placed the condenser on the bracket and attached it using the included tabs. The last part of the install is also the most tricky, which includes installing the wiring, doing the pressure testing, and pulling the vacuum in the lines. This unit needed a dedicated 25 amp circuit, which my technician installed during the installation process. Once everything was hooked up and tested, the mini split unit was ready to use. So as you saw, it's a fairly involved install, so I left that up to the professionals. This also requires permits in my location, so it's probably a good idea just to find somebody locally to install it for you. So some of the cool features of this unit specifically are it has a jet mode, which is basically, you can think of it as a turbo, that you turn on that mode and it's gonna cool or heat your space very, very quickly. And I found that really useful because for me, I don't leave this running very frequently. I only turn it on when I'm coming out in the shop in the morning and only leave it running when I'm in the shop, just because I don't want it wasting energy. One other functionality that's useful around that is a timer mode. So you can set this thing to run for a certain period of time and it'll automatically shut off, which really helps you keep from forgetting to turn it off when you leave the shop. It also has a dehumidification mode, so that's great for if you're applying finish and maybe don't need the AC on, but just want to reduce the ambient humidity in the room. That really helps get those finishes curing much, much faster. And overall, I'm just really happy with how quiet it is. So let's go ahead and turn it on and we can kind of hear how much noise is picked up when I'm standing right next to it by this lavalier mic. So this is what the unit sounds like when it's on its highest fan speed setting. This is not turbo mode, but this is just the highest normal fan speed. And honestly, I'm amazed at how quiet this is. I put this over on the metalworking side of my shop, and most of the time I'm gonna be on the very opposite end of the shop on the woodworking side, and I really don't think you're even gonna be able to hear this at all. It's super, super quiet, and I'm just honestly really surprised at how quiet it is. The other thing I liked is it's a pretty non-invasive install. All they needed to do was drill a 3-inch hole through the wall, which will be pretty easy to patch up should we ever decide to move out of this house. So this unit from LG isn't just limited to cooling, it also does heating. And the cool thing about this unit, unlike some mini splits, is it'll run down to -13 degrees at 100% efficiency, which is honestly amazing. Asheville has pretty moderate winters. I don't think we ever get to -13, and so this should be able to handle all of my heating needs throughout the winter. So don't just think about this as air conditioning for your shop, think about it as all year round heating and cooling. And for that reason, I think a mini split unit is a pretty good investment for any serious workshop out there. It'll work year round, it'll help you not only stay more comfortable in the shop, but during finishing, it's going to either dehumidify the space during the summer months, or it's going to warm up the space during the winter months to help those finishes cure faster. Because for me, time is money. Anything that can make finishes dry a little bit faster, I am interested in. So overall, I'm really happy with how this whole process went. The folks at eComfort were a pleasure to work with. They helped me pick the exact right size unit for my shop, and I am looking forward to using this thing for years to come. So definitely check out the link in the video description below to see the exact unit I got from ecomfort.com. And if you end up purchasing a unit from them, make sure to tell them that Crafted Workshop sent you. All right, thanks again for watching, guys, and until next week, happy building.